Rooftoppers Chapter 9, Part 2. So we've just, Sophie and Charles are at the cello shop in Paris trying to find out about Sophie's mum. And the owner of the shop doesn't remember a plaque that was on Sophie's cello. So he's starting to tell her about her mother, and she's very, very excited about it. Well, I remember she had musician's fingers, very pale like the roots of a tree. Yes, and what else? Said Sophie. She had short hair and a lot of movement around the eyes. What colour hair? What colour eyes? Lightish, I suppose. Yellow hair or orange. Je ne sais pas. Please try. It's important. I would like very much to help you, he said, but I must admit that I am not good at faces. I am better at instruments. He squinted at the two of them, standing side by side in the gloom. But she looked, I think, very like you. Not you, sir. You. Are you sure? Asked Sophie. Do you swear you're not making it up? Swear that you're sure. Ma petite belle, sorry. When you are old, you are rarely sure. Being sure is a bad habit. The man smiled. His skin creaked. Don't go. He lowered himself into a seat. I have an assistant. He was there when we sold it. He will have a better memory. These days, I only remember music. The assistant was hard and angular, where the owner was soft and wispy. The two spoke in French. Then the younger man turned to Charles. Yes, he said, I remember. Her name was Vivian. A name, coming so suddenly, was like being punched. Sophie's breath left her body. She could only stare. Charles said, Vivian what? The man shrugged. I don't remember. A colour, I think rouge, perhaps. I don't know, vert, perhaps. Oui, I think vert. Vivian. Sophie's insides pirouetted. Vivian. It was a word to conjure with. Charles said, thank you. Do you remember anything else? Was she married? Did she have children? Does she have a child? She was not, and she did not. The assistant had tough eyes and a sneering mouth. But she was poor. Her clothes were a disgrace, and I would not be surprised to hear of any number of children. She looked the sort of person to end in trouble with the law. What? Said Sophie. He sniffed. She had a lawless-looking mouth. Charles saw Sophie's face. He intervened. And was she a professional musician? He said. The assistant shrugged. Women are not professional musicians in France, sir, thank God. But she played the cello in the shop until I stopped her. Sophie said, You stopped her? Little girl, please do not take that tone with me. She was disturbing the other customers. Was she good? This man didn't seem to understand how important it was, and she wasn't sure how to make him see. She drummed on the desk with her fist. Was she wonderful? He shrugged again. She was a woman. Women's talents are limited. Sophie wanted to hit him hard with all the muscle she had. She wanted to bludgeon him with one of the violins on the wall. The man said she was peculiar. There was a cough. The old owner had come round from behind the desk and was standing to his assistant's elbow. He had a cello bow, like a horsewhip. Try a little harder, please. Harder, please, Mr. Lill. Mr. Lill flushed. I meant she was peculiar in musical terms. She played funeral marches in double time. She played Feuer's Requiem without the necessary dignity. She did, said Sophie. She did. The owner smiled. I remember that. That I do remember. She said she knew nothing but the funeral marches from living near a church. A church, said Sophie. Did she say which? No, but she said people should be able to dance to music, so she learned the church tunes and played them double time. Sophie loved the sound of that. It was something she would like to do herself. And she was good, wasn't she? I just know she was good. Her fingers tingled. Good had nothing to do with it. It was indecent, said the assistant. She made solemn music frivolous. It wasn't comme il faut. Could you demonstrate it for us? Said Charles. No, he said, I could not. The owner straightened his back. It cracked like a revolver shot, and Sophie winced. I could, he said. Mr. Lill looked staggered. Monsieur, think of what your doctor said. As a favour to the little girl, he pulled a cello from its case. Listen. The music started slowly. Sophie shivered. She had never liked the requiem. The old man bit his tongue and quickened his pace. The music sped up to a march and then to a run until it sounded rollicking and sad all at once. Sophie wanted to clap in time, but the rhythm was hard to capture. It was music that kicked and spun. It's like a rainstorm, she whispered to Charles. That's the music a rainstorm would play. Yes, said Charles, and the man overheard and called over his playing. Yes, exactly, chérie. That's it, exactly. Soon, far too soon for Sophie, the man put down his bow. There, he said, something like that. She was faster than me, I think. But, the assistant said, she did not play as elegantly as Monsieur. She rushed with her bow. The young are foolish and prize speed. Charles raised his eyebrows can be powerful, and Mr. Lill looked quelled. I admit, said Mr. Lill, that I have never heard anyone play as quickly as the girl. Vivian, said Sophie. She said it in a whisper. She was called Vivian. Yes, Vivian, said Monsieur. I remember clearly now. I think she was extraordinary. Mon Dieu, the speed. I would not have thought it possible. But it was not a proper way to play, said the assistant. I was not impressed. I was, said Monsieur. I was, and I am not easily impressed. Sophie left Charles to do the thanking and farewells. She couldn't speak. She needed to keep the music in her head. Sophie had a corner of her brain. It felt near the front and to the left, in which she kept music. Now she stored it away there.